Some nights your body is tired, but your thoughts refuse to rest. Anxiety doesn't wait for morning, it arrives in the silence of midnight. At night, when the world outside grows silent, the mind often grows louder. Worries echo like footsteps in an empty hallway. Memories replay, fears unfold, and even the smallest thought can feel overwhelming. Anxiety doesn't knock before it enters. It quietly slips into our lives, almost as if it has always been a part of us. But here's the perspective most of us never hear. In Buddhism, suffering, including anxiety and fear, is not an enemy to defeat. It is a teacher, a messenger carrying lessons that can guide us to awakening. Instead of pushing anxiety away, what if we could meet it with gentle curiosity? Think about it. Have you ever noticed how fighting anxiety often makes it grow stronger? Like trying to push down a spring, the more force you use, the harder it pushes back. This is the trap many of us fall into. We resist, we struggle, we run. But the wisdom of Zen Buddhism invites us to stop the fight, to pause, to breathe, to look directly at the storm within us, not with judgment, but with understanding. Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows steadily, carrying leaves, twigs, even storms downstream. Your thoughts and worries are like that river. You are not the leaves, not the turbulence. You are the one sitting on the bank, simply watching. The practice of mindfulness helps us return to this place of stillness. And in that stillness, anxiety loses its power. Modern psychology echoes this ancient truth. Studies on mindfulness meditation show it reduces stress, calms the nervous system, and brings clarity of mind. Yet the real transformation happens not just in the brain, but in the heart. When we stop fighting anxiety, we begin to see it for what it is, a reminder that we are alive, sensitive, human. Anxiety teaches us where our attachments are, what we cling to, what we fear losing, what we desperately try to control. And here is where Buddhist wisdom shines. Freedom comes not from eliminating anxiety, but from loosening our grip. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference. It means learning to hold life with open hands, not clenched fists. So, the next time silence magnifies your worries at night, try this. Place your hand gently on your heart, breathe slowly, and whisper to yourself, "This is just a passing cloud." Because like clouds, anxiety drifts, the sky remains. And within you, beyond the storm, lies a vast and unshakable peace waiting to be discovered. We now come to the first part of today's video. Anxiety as an invitation. At first glance, that might sound strange. How could anxiety, something so uncomfortable, be an invitation? Yet if we pause and look closer, we might see that anxiety is not here to punish us, but to call us back to ourselves. Think about it. Anxiety often shows up when life feels uncertain, when memories haunt us, or when we try to control what hasn't yet arrived. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, what if we saw anxiety as a teacher? In Buddhist wisdom, suffering, including worry and fear, is never the enemy. It is a signal, a guidepost, a teacher disguised in discomfort. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to stop running away. We bring awareness to the breath, to the body, to the emotions rising inside us. Not with judgment, not with criticism, but with gentle observation. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." These words remind us that anxiety only grows stronger when we live outside the now. Let me share a story. Harold, a retired gardener in his 70s, lost his wife after 50 years of marriage. In the silence that followed, his nights were filled with anxiety. Every creak of the house echoed like loneliness. Yet instead of drowning in those feelings, Harold turned to mindfulness. Each morning he would sit quietly, close his eyes, and notice his breath. At first it felt impossible. The pain was too heavy, but slowly the rhythm of breathing became his anchor. The rise and fall of each inhale and exhale whispered, "I am still here. This moment is enough." Over time, his anxiety softened. The breath carried him back into the present, where peace had been waiting all along. Anxiety, then, is not a wall blocking our way. It is a doorway. When it arises, it's as if life is inviting us. Come back, be here, listen. If we fight it, it grows louder. If we listen, it begins to soften. Ask yourself, when was the last time you treated your anxiety as a signal instead of a curse? What if, instead of asking, how do I make this go away, you asked, what is this trying to teach me? The truth is, the modern world tells us to avoid discomfort at all costs. We numb ourselves with distractions, chase endless goals, or drown in noise to avoid silence. But Buddhism whispers another way. Sit with it, breathe with it, allow it to speak. When we do, anxiety transforms from chaos into clarity. Harold's story could be anyone's story, yours, mine, a neighbor's. Because anxiety does not choose based on age, wealth, or background. It simply shows up as a reminder. You are alive. Pay attention. So the next time anxiety knocks, pause. Feel your breath. Place a hand on your chest. Notice that beneath the storm, your heart is still beating steadily. That is life's invitation, to return home to the present moment. And in that presence, you might just find that what once felt like a prison was actually the beginning of freedom. As Harold's story shows us, anxiety can be an invitation, a call to return to the present. But once we have taken that first step, a deeper question arises. What do we do with the constant stream of thoughts that fuel our worry? This brings us to the next part of today's journey, seeing thoughts as passing clouds. Anxiety often begins not with reality itself, but with thoughts about reality. Our mind replays past regrets, imagines future disasters, and whispers endless what-ifs. Before we know it, these thoughts tighten around us like vines, and we mistake them for the truth. Yet in Buddhist wisdom, not every thought is real. The teaching reminds us this is only a thought. What happens when we really understand this? Imagine standing beneath a sky filled with clouds. Some clouds are heavy and dark, others soft and white. But no matter how they look, every cloud eventually drifts by. Thoughts are just the same. They pass through the mind, but they are not the sky itself. The sky is vast, unchanging, open. In the same way, your true self is not the anxious thought. It is the awareness that notices it. Let me share a story. Maria, a 62-year-old nurse who recently retired, struggled with overwhelming worry after her husband's illness. Her mind replayed the same thought every night. What if I lose him? The thought clung to her, waking her at 3 a.m., stealing her rest. But through mindfulness practice, Maria began using a gentle reminder. This is only a thought, not the truth. Each time the phrase repeated in her mind, she whispered to herself, passing cloud. Slowly, she learned to separate her identity from her worries. She was not her fear, not her thought. She was the sky watching it drift by. This small shift changes everything. When we cling to every thought as if it were truth, anxiety tightens its grip. But when we recognize, this is only a thought, we create space. We begin to breathe. We step back and see. Our thoughts may be loud, but they are not in charge. Ask yourself, how many of your worries are truly happening right now in this moment? And how many are only clouds, shapes drifting across your inner sky? The Buddha's wisdom teaches us that thoughts are like echoes. They can sound real, but they do not have substance unless we give them power. Modern psychology echoes this teaching. Therapists often encourage people with anxiety to label thoughts instead of believing them. When the mind whispers, I'm not good enough, you can gently reply, that's just a thought. This is not denial, it is clarity. It allows you to choose whether to engage with the thought or simply let it drift away. Maria's life did not change overnight, but with practice, the phrase, this is only a thought, became like a lantern she carried in the dark. It didn't stop every anxious moment, but it illuminated the path forward. And over time, her nights became calmer, her days lighter. So the next time anxiety fills your mind with restless stories, pause. Picture a cloud drifting across the sky. Say softly to yourself, this is just a thought. You don't need to chase it away. You don't need to fight it. Just notice it and let it move on. Remember, you are not the thought. You are the awareness that sees the thought come and go. And in that awareness lies freedom. Once we recognize that anxiety is nothing more than passing thoughts, the next step is the courage to let go. And this is where we now turn to the next part of our journey, letting go to lighten the heart and find peace. Anxiety thrives on attachment and resistance. When we cling tightly to what once was or push away what we fear, we create tension inside ourselves. The Buddha taught that suffering is born not from life itself, but from our refusal to flow with its changes. Everything, our bodies, our relationships, our circumstances, shifts like seasons. When we demand permanence in a world that is constantly moving, anxiety naturally follows. Letting go, then, is not about losing. It is about opening the palm of the hand. Imagine holding sand too tightly. Your fist strains, and the grains slip away anyway. But when you relax your hand, the sand rests gently in your palm. Life is like that. The more we force, the more we lose. The more we let go, the more space we create for peace. Take the story of Maya, a small bakery owner. When her bakery closed after many years, she felt her identity collapse. Her anxiety was not only about losing income, it was about clinging to an image of herself as the baker, the person people in town knew. Nights were restless, mornings were filled with dread. But slowly, through the practice of mindfulness, Maya began to see that her suffering came not from the closed shop, but from her refusal to release who she thought she must be. When she let go of that identity, she discovered new joys: tending her garden, baking just for her grandchildren, sharing meals with friends. The external world had changed, but peace returned once she loosened her grip. Letting go freed her from the prison of should be and guided her into the beauty of what is. Perhaps you felt the same. Maybe it was after losing a job, a relationship, or a dream. The anxiety didn't only come from the event itself, it came from the battle inside, the voice saying, "This must not change. I cannot let go." What if, instead of fighting, you whispered, "It's okay to release"? What if you allowed yourself to trust that life continues and that peace waits on the other side of release? Buddhist wisdom reminds us, impermanence is not a curse, it is a gift. Because everything changes, pain softens, wounds heal, new doors open. To let go is to trust the river of life, to let it carry you instead of exhausting yourself by swimming upstream. But how do we actually practice letting go? One simple way is through the breath. When inhaling, feel the tension you're holding. When exhaling, imagine releasing it, like setting down a heavy stone you've carried for too long. With each breath, your body learns what your mind resists. It is safe to let go. Another way is through compassion. Often we cling because we fear losing love or safety. By offering kindness to ourselves, reminding the heart, "I am safe even without this. I am whole even if this changes." We ease the grip of attachment. Compassion softens what control cannot. Remember, letting go does not mean giving up. It means giving space. It means saying yes to the flow of life rather than fighting against it. When we loosen the chains of clinging, the heart becomes light and peace enters like a gentle breeze. So as we move forward, let this question echo within you. What am I holding too tightly? And what would happen if I gently released it? And with that reflection, we prepare to continue. Because beyond letting go lies another step, one that deepens the practice and roots peace even more firmly in daily life. And we will journey into that in the next part. Imagine a bamboo tree standing tall amidst a fierce storm. Its secret is not strength and rigidity, but strength and rootedness. Its deep roots anchor it firmly, allowing it to bend with the wind without breaking. So it is with a life built on ethical principles. Honesty, compassion, respect for life, self-discipline, and forgiveness form the roots that stabilize the mind and heart. Honesty is the foundation. Speaking truthfully, even when difficult, cultivates trust, both with ourselves and others. Kindness and compassion extend this trust outward, creating connections that strengthen communities and relationships. Respect for all living beings reminds us that our lives are intertwined, and that harm to others eventually harms ourselves. Self-discipline ensures that our actions align with our values rather than momentary impulses, protecting our peace and integrity. Forgiveness releases us from the weight of resentment, allowing us to move forward unburdened and present. When we practice ethical living consciously, we become like a lamp in the darkness. Our light does not diminish as it illuminates the path for others. One person living with integrity can inspire countless others, quietly fostering harmony, respect, and understanding. Ethical living transforms ordinary moments into opportunities to act with awareness and compassion. Consider a small act: pausing before speaking in anger, choosing to respond with kindness rather than react, or offering a helping hand when no one sees. These actions may seem minor, but over time, They cultivate a mind rooted in clarity, calm, and confidence. A life anchored in ethics is resilient. It bends with the storms of life, but does not break. Ethical living is not perfection. It is intention and awareness. It is about aligning our inner world with our outer actions, ensuring that what we think, say, and do reflects the values we hold most dearly. When our thoughts, words, and deeds harmonize, life becomes a meditation in motion, a continuous practice of integrity, peace, and purpose. The beauty of this path is that it benefits both the self and the collective. Each choice made with mindfulness and ethics strengthens our own peace while contributing to a more harmonious world. In living ethically, we discover a freedom that arises not from external circumstances, but from knowing we are true to ourselves and to the life we wish to nurture. So today, pause and reflect. What choices can you make to anchor your life in integrity? How can your thoughts, words, and actions serve as roots that hold you firm amid life's storms? When we plant the seeds of ethical living, we cultivate a garden of peace, resilience, and quiet inspiration for all who walk near us. As we learn to root ourselves in ethical living, a new invitation appears, the invitation to release. And so, we move into the next reflection in today's journey. Flowing with life, the art of letting go. Buddhism teaches that much of our suffering comes from attachment, our desire to hold on to people, outcomes, or even our own expectations. The Buddha said, "You only lose what you cling to." Imagine a river rushing down a mountain. If you try to swim against the current, you exhaust yourself. But if you allow the water to carry you, guiding your strokes with awareness, the journey becomes effortless, even joyful. Life is very much the same. Letting go does not mean surrendering to passivity or giving up on life. It is about trusting the unfolding of events and responding with clarity rather than resistance. In relationships, letting go of rigid expectations allows us to connect authentically, to listen deeply, and to accept others as they are. In our careers, releasing attachment to a specific definition of success opens doors to paths we may never have imagined, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth and learning. And in personal challenges, illness, loss, or sudden change, letting go brings us closer to the present moment, allowing space for patience, understanding, and adaptation. Think of attachment as a heavy backpack we carry. Each clinging thought or expectation adds weight, and we struggle under its burden. But when we choose to release, without denial or avoidance, the load lightens. Our minds become clear, hearts open, and we are free to move with life rather than against it. This practice cultivates trust, not only in the world but in ourselves, the faith that we possess the wisdom and resilience to navigate whatever arises. Mindfulness is the compass in this process. Observing our impulses, noticing when we cling, and breathing through resistance allows us to see what is happening without judgment. Meditation trains us to return to calm waters even when the river churns. Self-reflection helps us understand why we grasp and gently encourages release. With each act of letting go, we are reminded that control is an illusion, but presence, clarity, and compassion are always within reach. Letting go is also a gift to those around us. When we release the need to control, we allow others their freedom and create space for authentic connection. Forgiveness, patience, and acceptance ripple outward, softening tension and nurturing understanding. In this way, the art of letting go is not just personal, it is relational, social, and deeply transformative. Ultimately, trusting the process allows life to flow naturally. Like a river carving its path, each turn and obstacle shapes us, polishes us, and teaches us resilience. We may stumble or feel lost at times, but by releasing attachment, we discover a sense of ease and lightness that transforms how we experience each moment. We learn that life does not need our command to be meaningful. Our presence, our attention, and our willingness to flow with it are enough. So pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what are you holding on to that weighs your heart? What can you release today to walk lighter, to breathe deeper, and to meet life with trust? In the gentle practice of letting go, we find freedom from suffering, a deeper connection to the present, and a quiet joy that no circumstance can shake. As we have learned to let go and flow with life, a subtle yet profound invitation emerges, the invitation to find strength in stillness. And so, we move to the final reflection of today's journey, the power of inner stillness. Stillness is often misunderstood as retreat or escape, but in truth, it is the space where we see our mind and emotions clearly. It is a sanctuary, a pause that allows us to distinguish between the voice of genuine need and the echoes of anxiety. Imagine a calm lake at dawn. The water mirrors the sky perfectly, untroubled by wind or waves. Our mind, when still, reflects reality with the same clarity. Daily practice of stillness, even for just 5 to 10 minutes without screens, without distraction, creates a rhythm of renewal for body, mind, and spirit. It is in this quiet that intuition emerges, insight sharpens, and emotional turbulence gently settles. You may notice how, in the moments of intentional silence, you hear thoughts you had not noticed before, and feelings that were once clouded become vivid and understandable. This is not idle inactivity. It is active inner cultivation, a conscious tending of one's inner garden. Stillness also strengthens our resilience. In a world full of noise, obligations, and constant stimuli, the ability to pause and center oneself becomes a soft yet unbreakable power. Like the roots of a tree that grow deep beneath the surface, the moments we dedicate to inner quiet anchor us, allowing us to bend with the storms of life without breaking. The more we practice, the more our equilibrium becomes independent of external chaos. Criticism, urgency, or unexpected change no longer dictate our emotional state. We respond rather than react. In relationships, stillness fosters patience and listening. When we cultivate an inner calm, we can be fully present with others, absorbing their words and emotions without judgment or distraction. In moments of conflict, stillness allows space for understanding to emerge, bridging gaps that hurried reactions often widen. In solitude, it nurtures self-compassion, helping us recognize our own needs and limits without harshness or self-reproach. Finally, stillness transforms everyday life into a sanctuary. It is not reserved for meditation cushions or silent retreats. It is available in the pauses between tasks, in the quiet moments before sleep, or even while sipping tea and observing the world. Each breath, each moment of awareness reinforces the soft, resilient power that comes from being fully present. This is the hidden strength within us, calm, centered, unshakable, and luminous even amidst the world's inevitable turbulence. So take a moment now. Pause, breathe, and listen. In the gentle embrace of inner stillness, you will find clarity, peace, and a subtle strength that carries you through every challenge. This is the final gift of our journey today, the realization that true power lies not in resistance or control, but in the quiet depth of your own mind. As we have journeyed through the 7 profound Buddhist lessons, we come to see a pattern emerge. Each teaching is a doorway back to ourselves, a gentle invitation to find a heart that remains steady regardless of life's storms. When we cultivate awareness that no one can truly harm us without our permission, when we see every encounter as a teacher, when we embrace the present moment and release the past, gratitude and ethical living become our anchors. Letting go guides our flow, and inner stillness reveals our true strength. All these lessons converge to form a mind that cannot be shaken. And now as we reflect, it becomes clear. Freedom and peace are not found in the absence of challenges, but in the presence of a steady, compassionate heart. Life will continue to present difficulties, criticism, and uncertainty, but within us lies a space untouched by chaos. A mind trained in these principles becomes like a vast lake. Waves may ripple on the surface, yet the depths remain calm, luminous, and clear. Consider how this feels in your own life. Perhaps a tense conversation, a lingering worry, or the weight of expectation has clouded your inner sky. By practicing these 7 lessons, you give yourself the gift of perspective, the power to observe without being consumed, to respond with wisdom rather than reaction, and to return to balance no matter the circumstances. Imagine sharing this calm with those around you. A single act of patience, a quiet word of encouragement, or simply a mindful presence can ripple outward, touching countless lives. This is the living power of Buddhist wisdom, applied not only inwardly but outwardly, shaping a world where peace is both personal and collective. So let us bring these lessons into daily life, allowing them to color our mornings, guide our choices, and soften our nights. Practice them, repeat them, live them, and as you do, you will discover a freedom that cannot be taken away, a clarity that cannot be clouded, and a joy that rests quietly within, waiting only for your recognition. Now let us move forward together, carrying this unshakable peace into every moment, every interaction, and every breath. This is the culmination of today's journey, and yet it is only the beginning. May we take these teachings into the next chapter of our lives and continue to cultivate resilience, serenity, and inner light in all that we do.